Jay Reel, and I'm here in conjunction with deadpit.com. Perhaps you have visited the site and you've read some of my articles I wrote there called Tales from the Grindhouse, and about my days of working at the old Mexia Theater back in the early to mid 80s. The theater itself closed in 1985 or 86. The last movie there was The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy's The Golden Child, and now it's a Mexican church. A lot of times when people talk about Grindhouse, the Grindhouse Experience, they talk about the movies that were shown, you know, the old horror films or the old, you know, blaxploitation movies or such as that. And really, it wasn't always about the movies in themselves, because the old movie theaters, they showed the mainstream movies. They showed your Star Wars, they showed the Indiana Jones movies, they showed the big budget movies. It was the conditions that these movies were shown under that made the Grindhouse Experience. The projectors that looked like something that was out of the steam age, that should be on an old railroad engine or something. The kind of food that was served there, and most of all, the people, the crowds that you would see these movies with. That made the Grindhouse Experience. Okay, so let's go. Let's go see what the old Mexia Theater building looks like now, in 2007. I wanted to ask you about the sign up there.
Oh.
You've said you've got some people offered you some money for the sign.
There's somebody from England. Yeah, from England. Sunday, this time, I look somebody take picture over there, and I asked him, well, for why? He said, I come from England, and I take picture to all the theaters, but I interest in the sign on top because it's Mexia.
Right.
And I say no, because on top have Mexican sleep.
Right, siesta.
Okay. Yeah, they take siesta. And I wouldn't live over there because on top is sleep, but inside is wake up.
Right. Oh, I get you, right.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're right inside the building now, and when you walked in the old days, first thing you would see was the snack bar. And back here is where the popcorn machine was over here. We had our soft drink machine, I think there about the middle. Had our nacho cheese heater over here on the left. There was a counter here. And of course we had a counter here for purchasing the snack bar food. And I remember two of the experiments that we had back then was Coca-Cola with Hershey syrup. That was an experiment we tried. My sister was very fond of iced pickle juice on ice. You get a cup of pickle juice on ice. And I don't know if any other person ever drank pickle juice on ice, but my sister loved this stuff. Okay, here's the stairway to the projection booth, and it also was a stairway to the balcony. But even when I worked there in the mid-80s, the balcony was closed because it presented, I believe, as a fire hazard at the time. So they had closed the balcony down. But these steps led up to the projection booth where I worked. And you can see the very narrow steps. You had to be careful. Careful how you walked. Let's go up there and take a look. So here I am in the balcony area. This is the projection booth is right over there, right next door. And to the left of the projection booth was the left side of the balcony area, and still the old seats are still here. The old theater seats. These are, I believe, still the original seats, aren't they? Every 20 minutes I had to wait and watch for the cigarette burns on the screen, waiting to do a switch over from one projector to another. We had two projectors, and every 20 minutes you had to switch to the second projector. And often the prints would be very brittle, they would be worn out, so I had to do splices. Sometimes I'd have to take the reels off the projector, splice them together, and rethread them back into the projector. So I had to be very close to the to the projectors while the movies were showing. So I would sit here oftentimes, and probably in this seat, there's probably a lot of times where I would sit, because it give me quick access to the projectors. So we're here in the building, the projection booth, the old projection booth, which has now been converted into a children's Sunday school classroom, I believe. It's the youth area of the church. And still the old areas where the projectors would show. The projector on the left would show through this window, and I would sit here and stand here. I would stand here and I would look through this window and watch the movie and look for the old cigarette burns on the right hand of the screen. During the end of each reel, there would be except for the last one, there would be a little ring. There would be two of them. One would give you sort of a heads up, and the second one is when you made the switch to the second projector. So when you hear cigarette burns, that's what you're looking for. Still, you can see them when you watch a movie. Look for that little ring, particularly on the older movies, in the upper right-hand corner. So this is the right side of the building. This is the right side of the balcony area. And during that time, when I worked there, this was all over here. It looked like the left side. It had the theater seats progressing down and a view of the movie screen. And that's now been converted to a classroom, Sunday school classroom. So here's how it is now. I wish I could show you the way it was then. I wish I had pictures or video or something to show you how the theater looked at the time. But unfortunately, you're going to have to count on my recollections, which at 41 years old are not so good. I can only imagine the amount of remodeling you had to do and repairs you had to do for like that. Yes. And we're actually now in the building, in the theater itself. When you walk through, there's two doors, one on the left and right, and that led into the actual theater. And as you can tell, the floor is slanted down so that people can see over each other's heads. But what a change! It looks nothing like it used to. Of course, the screen used to be there where the stage is, where the curtain is. Self Wilson, during the last like 5 or 6 years of the theater, had built a stage area. He had actually, for live performances, bands and local bands and such, so there was a stage. I don't believe that's the same stage, but he did build a stage there. But the seats were similar to the ones you saw in the balcony, the old wooden seats. But old carpet going down the middle of it, worn out, sticky floors. What you would expect in a rundown old single screen theater built, I believe, in 1952 or 1953. It's been converted to what you see now. So that's it's a good thing. The building itself has been very well preserved, and I have a lot of fond memories about the place. And here's the old ticket booth, the old ticket window, where you would go to purchase your tickets. And had a little window here. This has been closed up there, but this is where you would purchase your tickets to watch the show. The movies that we got about 6 months after they were released. I think Star Wars was a good half year. It took us to finally get it. And I remember the first time they showed Star Wars, they showed the reels out of place, which first time I saw it, so I thought it was the way it was supposed to be. But I was informed by a friend of mine that they had severely messed up the order of the film. Anyway, the old ticket booth, here it is, and still very much the way it was back then. And here's one of the poster cages you would call it, for the one sheets that would advertise the films. I believe in this area it would show what's coming up, what's about to be shown, or what's coming in the future dates. But it looks exactly like it looked then. The other two have been changed, but this is exactly how it used to look. Operated by key, you open it by key, place the poster, and Well, thank you so much for taking time to watch me ramble and reminisce about the old times at the Mexia Theater, which is now this lovely, beautiful church. In association with deadpit.com, I'm Jay Real, and I am out of here.